I am Dr. Sheikh Bashir, Assistant Professor. The topic today we discuss is communication. Learning objectives. By the end of this session, learner will be able to understand about introduction to communication, definition of communication, and third is various methods of communication. Let's start with the introduction to communication. All the creatures on the face of the earth, they communicate with each other. Insects, birds, animals, even modern science says that plants too communicate with each other in one way or the other way. I'll give you a few instances to make it more clear. Take an example of the honeybees. When an honeybee worker tries to find the nectar somewhere in the garden, when it finds how it signals to the colony, it makes the signal with the sound z sound, which is this is actually a communication to other honeybees in the colony. At the same time, they reach and have their food. Another example to make it clear is about the ants. You might have seen that how ants they move in a straight line and follow the dictation and guidelines of their leader. This is not possible without the proper communication. One more example I will give you about the dogs. The bow wow sound of the dog seems to us that it is a single sound, but for the dogs it is the complete language. See, when a foreign dog enters in their vicinity, they signal with each other and within no time they chase him away together. Now, what is special with human beings? There are more than 7,000 languages in the world. It is all because of the divine gift which is given to the human beings. It is because of our tongue, it is because of our movement of the lips. No other animal can move the lips and tongue the way we humans can move. That is why we can learn any sound, we can learn any language. And why now English language is so important? It is because in the modern world, it is the global language. It is the language of the information. It is the language of the technology. Jawaharlal Nehru has well said that English is a window through which we see the outer world. Gandhi ji has said that English is the language of diplomat, trade, and commerce. So that is why if you want to get adjustment in any corner of the world, you should be able to communicate in a better way. Let's move ahead. The definition of communication. The word communication has been derived from a Latin word communicare, which means to share. To share what? To share knowledge, to share information, to share ideas, to share thoughts which you have received from different sources. These ideas you have to share through a channel, and that is language. And you can share this information through verbal, non-verbal, or through writing. According to different writers, they have defined this communication in their own way. According to Chappell and Reed, he says that communication is any behavior that results in an exchange of meaning. What does that mean, exchange of meaning? It means that communication is two-way traffic. Actually, when you are sharing a message, you are also receiving the message. So that is why it is a two-way traffic. According to Liggins, communication is a process by which two or more people exchange ideas, facts, feelings, or impression in such ways that each gains a common understanding of the meaning and use of message. So here, the focus is on understanding of the meaning. That means when we are sharing the information, the intention is that the other person, he should get some message out of that. Moving ahead, methods of communication. There are various methods of the communication. The main are three. One is verbal communication, another is non-verbal communication, and third is written communication. Now, I will explain them in brief one by one. Verbal or oral communication. Verbally transmitting information from individual or group to another. Here, the information is shared face to face or online or you are talking to your friend without using any other medium. That means you are using only your words which are you sharing with your friend. Verbal communication is of two types: formal communication and informal communication. Formal communication refers to the flow of official information through proper predefined channels and routes, which means that while you are having formal communication, you have to take care of certain rules and structures. You cannot go beyond that. So you are bound here. While as in informal communication is an exchange of information, either oral or written, that does not fall within the traditional structures, methods, or hierarchies of the business. Here you are free. You can begin from any word, you can end with any word. So here is no guidelines, here is no structure. You don't need to be fix your information. Moving ahead, presentation at business meetings. See, this is the example of the formal communication. When the head of the company in the corporate world wants to convey some new objectives to the employees, he just arranges formal meeting. In that formal meeting, he presents some important objectives. And if any employee doesn't understand, he formally asks some questions, and those questions are answered according to that formal way of meeting. Another example I will give you, that's about the classroom lecturers. If you see that before entering the class, the teacher or a lecturer, he prepares a lesson plan. He first chooses a particular topic, and from beginning to end, he goes on point by point. And when he enters in the classroom, he has a fixed time frame of 40 or 1 hour. He just formally delivers the lecture. If any student doesn't understand, he also asks some questions to make some clarification. So this is another example of the formal way of communication. Informal communication. Informal communication, which I told you that here you don't need to be fixed with certain frame. So here you can use face-to-face communication with your friends, with your colleagues, with your parents, whether you are on mobile phone. So you don't need to abide certain important rules and regulation which is in the formal way of communication. Another example of formal and informal communication is telephone conversation. In telephone conversation, you are talking to your friend without using any proper method, without using any proper guidelines. So you are free, you can begin and you can end your conversation at your own intention. Discussions that take place at business meetings. Sometimes there is informal communication in also the offices, while the head of the company, he wants to discuss something which is quite normal, which is not related to the office, or which can be of any topic. So this is also another example of informal communication. Non-verbal communication. Transmission of message or signals through facial expression, eye contact, body language, physical environment, and use of objects. It is well said that silence speaks louder than words. If you see here in this picture, the four portraits just indicate something. A face is the index of mind. If you see in the first photograph, the person is happy, he's smiling, and another person you see on the left side shows the sadness, the eyes are very numb. And when the face is angry, the color of the face changes, and when the face is in fear, the color of the face also turns black. Now the last is written communication. What is written communication? Written communication refers to the process of conveying a message through the written signs or symbols. So in writing, when you are sharing your message, when you are sharing your thoughts, when you are sharing your ideas, whether you are using the pen or paper, or you are having the internet, email connectivity, or nowadays we use WhatsApp chats, you can use Facebooks. So these are all means of the written communication. Learning outcome. What we learned today: communication, introduction, definition, and different methods of communication.